Hey there, it's Collin, Fett, your agent. Hey, today I'm going to talk about capital expenditure, CapEx. So if you're either currently investing in rental property or looking into investing in rental property, this is something that you either probably know about or are aware of and don't know anything about and want to figure out what you need to know about it. So what is capital expenditure? So it's called CapEx a lot of times in the real estate investment world. And basically, it's those big ticket items that everyone knows is coming down the pipeline, whether, and this holds true whether you're buying a personal residence or a rental property. But really, when you're buying a rental property, I mean, the reason you're buying it is to generate cash flow, to make it an investment, and having a huge expenditure coming up or at any point it needs to be factored into the equation whether this is a good investment for you or not. So, like I said, whether you know it or not, you know it because it's a concern for everyone, and it's a looming obvious thing. So how do you? So there's two things that I think are important. One is when you purchase it. How do you know what you have to plan for, where the value is, knowing these issues? And then once you own a rental property, how do you prepare for it? How do you save for it? How do you make sure that you've got your ducks in a row so you're getting these taken care of? I'm going to address both of those today. So first off, when you're purchasing the property. So I like to look at this two ways. So when you're purchasing the property, so just for easy math, let's say it's a duplex and we've got one duplex that's selling for 180 and we've got another duplex that's selling for 220. The one that's selling for 220 has got a new roof, new windows. The units have been updated and the HVAC is all 5 years or less. The one that's selling for 180 is got 3-tab shingles on the roof. The windows are original. Both of these are built in 1970, let's say. And the HVAC is nearing the end of its life, less than 5 years left. Same with water heater, so on and so forth. Take about 40 grand probably to fix this one up. Roof, furnace, AC, siding, whatever. This one's already done. So sometimes people look at those and be like, "Oh, that one's a better deal. It's 180. It's $40,000 less than this other one that's 220." So how do you equate those? So a lot of times what I like to do is figure out, what's coming up in the next 5 years. What are these big ticket items? How do I kind of pare them back to say, what are these going to cost me? Because the other thing to think about, if you got this $180,000 duplex is cash flowing, let's say $200 a month per side, so you got $400 per month for the building versus this one that's 220 that's maybe not cash flowing as much. It's cash flowing $100 per side, and so 200 per unit. But this one needs a new roof and it's going to be 8 grand. So your cash flow essentially is taken up for the next whatever that be 3 years because of that item that needs to be repaired. So two things to consider here. One is, if you know anything about investment properties, you maybe heard the term BRRRR: buy, renovate, refinance, repeat. And so the idea is that you buy it in the 180 condition, you fix it up, and then you refinance it at the 220 condition. You put that equity into it. So I've done this on tons of my properties. It's a good way to do it because then it allows you to amortize that cost over the life of a loan. And obviously you need the cash up front, but it's a way to kind of, basically you're getting a loan on, you refinance it, you're getting a loan on the roof or the siding and whatever included with the property. So that's one way to look at it, but it is hard to equate. It's hard to say whether the 180 is a better deal than the 220. And there's probably no perfect science. Sometimes it comes down to the person. Hey, if you're a fixer-upper kind of person and you can make those repairs for less than 40 grand and you want to do that, you want to put some sweat equity into it, well, that's a great property for you. If you've got kids or you're older or you don't live in the area, the 220 where it's fixed up, ready to go for the most part, besides routine repair and maintenance, that may be the way to go. So really depends on the person. And I think those are important factors when you're looking at cash flow or return on investment. Is you probably need to get a bigger return if it's got these maintenance items that are coming up. So then how do you prepare once you've already got it purchased? And so something I've done, talking with appraisers, so someone will say, you need $200 to $300 per unit per year. This would be talking, bigger complexes. What I've done is I created a spreadsheet for my properties and just simply plugged in when the manufacturer date was on the furnace, AC, water heater, how frequently do they need to be replaced, what's the average cost, and then be able to kind of figure out where I'm sitting with all my different properties. And that was a way for me to monthly. Then I've got a separate bank account where I can save for capital expenditures when they come up. It's no surprise, and I have the money there, and I have it saved and ready to go. The other thing is just planning ahead. So I know this roof's going to be replaced in the next 3 years. I know these windows, I know this, that, whatever. And I just have a spreadsheet going where I've kind of game planned out, budgeted. I don't want to blow all my cash flow on repairing everything all this year. So this is probably most urgent. I'm going to do the roof on this property, and I'm going to do siding on this property in the next 2 years. And then I'm going to do some of them like HVAC or water heater. You don't really have a choice. When it goes out, and you got to replace it. So some of those you kind of just have to have a cushion. But that's how I like to prepare once I've actually purchased the property. So long story short, I know it's a bit longer video, but capital expenditures can be tricky. How do you plan for them? How do you equate them when you're making a purchase? And I hope this is helpful. Obviously, if you got questions specifically about a property that you own, how to figure out what you should be saving, or looking at a property and you want to kind of dive into it deeper, I've kind of made it a mission this past year, as I've done a lot of improvements on different properties of mine, and started to plan better for the future to really dial it in. I certainly don't have it down to a perfect science, but I feel like in the recent year I've been able to get a good game plan in place for my properties and my portfolio. So if you've got any questions on yours, or looking to buy in the future, looking to get into investment, and this has always been an issue for you, like, yeah, I'd love to invest in real estate, but what about the roof? What about the furnace? It's so unplanned. And you need someone that can give you a little more peace of mind. Reach out. I'd love to explain to you kind of my thought process in greater detail, and be a benefit to you. So as always, hope you have a great day and stay awesome.